It was hard to listen to at times because the grief was so profound and in some cases so raw. It was Lisa Niemi, it was Maria Shriver, Susan St. James, and Elizabeth Edwards, women who all normally protect their privacy, but they laid bare their souls so that we could all learn something about surviving the unimaginable.
For Lisa Niemi, the panel was the beginning of the healing process. Her beloved husband, Patrick Swayze, died just 5 weeks ago.
This is all new to me, and I thought during the 22 months of my husband's illness that it gave me all this time to get used to the idea of losing him. And I found for myself when I actually got to that point, I said, no. It wasn't the same at all. The actual loss it's like an animal all of its own. It's almost when the grief takes it, your body's not your own.
One of the most difficult parts of his final days, dealing with the tabloids who were on a death watch.
It was emotional cruelty. When what you have is hope, you want to hang on to that hope. But in everyone...
The tabloids took it away from you, or they were constantly...
Every single time. Oh, they were killing them off every week, every month. It was very demoralizing. It's really, because it's when somebody is out in the universe saying you're dead on such a big level, you want all the positive thoughts you can.
And moderator Maria Shriver's grief was also raw from the recent loss of her uncle, Ted Kennedy, and her best friend and mother, Eunice Shriver.
My mother's death has brought me to my knees. I had feared it my entire life. I was terrified that when it actually happened, I wouldn't be able to go on. In fact, I was sure of it. A life without my mother was and is unimaginable to me.
Shriver confided to the crowd of 10,000 people that she felt her mother reach out to her just after she died through a nun.
The woman looked at me, and she looked at me right in the eye, and she said, "Your mother and the Virgin Mary sent me here to you." I burst into tears.
And while Elizabeth Edwards lost her 16-year-old son Wade in a car crash over a decade ago,
and there are times that I dissolve still.
To this day.
To this day.
As she faces her own battle with cancer, she finds unexpected comfort knowing she'll see him again.
I have to believe that there's a chance of reunion of some sort with Wade, and so death offers me that, which life can't offer me.
Actress Susan St. James, wife of NBC Sports Chairman Dick Ebersol, says after her 14-year-old son Teddy died in a plane crash 5 years ago, she found strength by looking at death in a different light.
We're not human beings having a spiritual experience. We're spiritual beings having a human experience. And I could picture Teddy as a spiritual being and then coming down on earth and having these 14 cool years and then going home.
But there are some steps she still can't take.
I've never moved Teddy's clothes. It's 5 years. I mean, I've never gone in his room. I go in and I dust it, but I've never moved his things. And we talked about that, and that's really weird.
The women bared their emotions because they believe that truly grieving and connecting helps the healing.
Jacqueline Kennedy did just what our nation needed her to do. She stood there and said, "We're going to be strong, we're going to get through this," but it set an impossible standard for everybody who grieved after that. And in truth, what you feel like doing is wailing, completely guttural, completely raw, completely full of pain. And we don't allow ourselves that.
The best moment in grieving, and the thing that moved me on, was that I could embrace Teddy finally in a way that was, he's my kid. They can take his body, but I own that boy. And I love that boy.
It just enriches the whole tapestry of life when you connect with other people, and it can help you so much. And anybody who's going through that loss, I would encourage it, because even though you still have to live with the sadness, it will add and enrich what you have. And see that what you do have, and that love and that connection, is a beautiful thing.
I don't think, Diane, that I've ever seen so many women together listening and literally crying. It was hard almost to get out of your chair afterwards, but it was oddly uplifting, too, to have heard all of that.
Yes, I'm sure they were hushed, and also they took away from it some strength. But let me ask you what lessons they gave, because I know they did, about that most awkward intersection of good intentions and uncertainty. When you try to say something consoling to someone, did they say what really helped?
They did. That's interesting. They did all talk about that. Susan St. James even joking that she remembered somebody saying, I know what you're going through because my dog just died. And she knew it was an awkward thing to say, but that everybody to a person said, we just like the fact that people reach out to us. Don't be afraid. And don't be afraid to say, I don't know if this is the right thing to say, but I'm going to say it anyway. That, you know, the people who reached out in those first days and were brave enough to call and talk are the people who really made a difference to these women, Diane.
Yes, reaching out a hand and not staying away because you're not sure what you should do. Okay, thanks so much, Claire. It was very moving.